Jeff Fischel here, and this is ACC All Access. No one has won more games in college basketball than Mike Krzyzewski. Coach K sits down with Tom Wormy to discuss his freshman class and how the game has evolved in our ACC profile. In women's hoops, the Tar Heels pull off a stunner. NC State is packing a punch, and there is a tiger in the hunt. We have a midseason breakdown of ACC women's basketball. Plus, an ACC dunk fest of some of the best ever. ACC All Access starts right now.
Left sideline, 3 seconds left. Price gives to Beverly, long three, left wing. Good! Oh. Good! He got it off! He got it off! The officials are going to check the monitor, but I believe he got it off because that ball went in just as the horn sounded.
I knew it was going to happen. Last night when I was dreaming, I was like, Braxton Beverly's going to hit this big shot at the end and win the game. And man, what a great coach I was tonight.
NC State head coach Kevin Keatts had a vision that Braxton Beverly would be a hero for NC State on Saturday. Hey, if you see it, it will happen. And what I'm seeing right now is some great hoops throughout the ACC. As the week began, the ACC is flexing its muscle as the best conference in college hoops. 7 ACC teams, 2 more than any other conference ranked in this week's AP poll, 3 in the top 10. Duke and Virginia trail only Tennessee. North Carolina checks in at number 9. Then it's Virginia Tech, Louisville, the Pack. And welcome back Florida State. The Noles are at 25. We start with Virginia at PNC Arena to take on NC State. Kevin Keatts has an impressive record against top 10 opponents, 2-0 at home. Could the Pack pull off another win over a top 10 team? It was a grinder in the Wolfpack's palace, going to overtime. Kyle Guy's 3 late in the OT sealed it for the third-ranked Hoos. NC State left an impression on Tony Bennett.
Again, fortunate to get out here. NC State's a good team, especially when they're full strength, which they're now getting back to, and you got to earn it in here.
9th-ranked North Carolina was dominant Tuesday night in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. So is it time to buy stock in the Tar Heels? Why not? Let the gentleman who called the game persuade you. Here is Wes Durham and Dan Bonner.
77-54 is the final tonight. Atlanta, North Carolina, a 23-point winner over Georgia Tech. Great to be with Dan Bonner. Wes Durham, thanks for being part of our ACC Hoops coverage. We said at the top that Carolina could be a team trending in February. What did you see tonight from the Tar Heels?
Well, I certainly didn't see that they would be trending down in February, Wes. This is a North Carolina team that shot the ball very well. Now, obviously, every team is a better team when they shoot the ball well, but I think just the way they did it, Kobe White was creating situations. They got easy shots. This, against Georgia Tech, they won the game without really many contributions from Luke May. And so I think when North Carolina finally gets to the point where they can efficiently combine that inside and outside, they're going to be a lot to handle.
It looks like Nasir Little starting to become more comfortable as well as a freshman. Not every freshman's on the same schedule, no matter what the expectation is, right?
Well, the expectations are something that the poor kid can't do anything about, and you have all these ratings and everything for freshmen, but you don't really know until they start to play. And Nasir Little, I think, has been very patient in learning what he needs to do, and you can just see his progress coming along. The other thing you see from North Carolina, Brandon Robinson comes off the bench and makes a contribution. Seventh Woods comes off the bench and makes a contribution. And I think that that's really important. You can't play with just 5 guys anymore. You need people to come in, and even if they only play 3 minutes, it's an important 3 minutes, and these guys from the Tar Heels seem to realize that.
Maybe part of Carolina's magic chemistry is you hit just enough threes, you improve in that category, get a little better defensively, and accepting your role, right? Finding that chemistry within the team.
Well, that's really important. Teams have to fit together. Everybody out there was a big star in high school, and so somehow you have to fit together. And as the younger players come along, sometimes the older players have to take a step back. And it's very fascinating to watch this process with North Carolina. Now, they have, as everybody in the ACC has, they have a very tough schedule coming up. But it's been very interesting to watch their growth.
Yeah, well, the Tar Heels are off to Louisville. They'll see the Cards on Saturday. And then, of course, you're into the month of February by that point, and we all know all roads lead to Charlotte.
Wes, Dan, thank you. What a weekend of ACC hoops coming up. Early in the day, number 12 Virginia Tech and 23rd ranked NC State get it on at PNC Arena. The Hokies have not won in Raleigh in 8 years. Chris Mullen brings his Johnnies to Cameron Indoor Stadium to take on number 2 Duke. I'm keeping my eye on the Syracuse Pitt game, just a hunch. Then the Heels and Cards in the Derby City. Louisville got their season kick-started with an impressive win at the Smith Center 3 weeks ago. The rematch, yeah, it should be fun.
Coming up next on ACC All Access, are the Packs still perfect? And we hand out our midseason awards in ACC women's basketball next. Later, an exclusive interview with Coach K, and we reveal our list of some of the best dunks in the ACC. So stay with us. This is ACC All Access. ACC All Access is brought to you by the corporate champions of the ACC, Geico, and Food Lion.
Before Sunday's game, North Carolina head coach Sylvia Hatchell and her team talked about having a wow moment. And did the Tar Heels ever deliver one Sunday in Carmichael Arena? Paris Key led the way for the Heels with 30 points and 10 assists. Notre Dame head coach Muffin McGraw called her the best player on the floor that night. The Irish had no answer. It was win number 1,017 for Sylvia Hatchell. NC State became the first women's program to reach 20 wins Sunday, defeating Georgia Tech 68-60. Kiara Leslie led the way for the Wolfpack with 16 points and surpassed 1,000 for her career. Cause for celebration in the locker room after the game.
She just passed me on the most famous Irish phrase, Kiara Leslie.
Westmore's team is loving life now, aren't they? NC State moves up to number 7 in the AP poll. Louisville leads the way for the ACC at 3 behind Baylor and Connecticut. Notre Dame falls to 5 with that loss to UNC. Then it's Syracuse and Florida State as well. The women's basketball season is at the halfway point in the league. Hey, time flies when you're having fun. No one is having more fun than NC State. 20 straight wins, unbeaten heading into Thursday's game. You might call the Wolfpack the pleasant surprise in the ACC. Jen Hildreth and Chelsea Shine have a different take. Ladies, the floor is yours.
All right, a little ACC women's basketball mid-season report, Chelsea. We're going to put you on the spot, have you give out some grades, or at least tell us your thoughts at this point. In many ways, we've had a historic, somewhat surprising ACC women's basketball season so far. You think about NC State and what they have done, Clemson with Amanda Butler, first-year head coach for the Tigers. And I have a feeling they could pop up, because one of the things I wanted to ask you about, pleasant surprises so far this season. Do the Tigers have to fall in that category?
Yeah, I think there's no question that Clemson is the biggest surprise for anybody following women's college basketball. Amanda Butler in her first season there has done a tremendous job. This is a Tigers team that haven't won 6 games in conference play. You've got to go all the way back to 2002-2003 season, and so it's been really, really impressive what she's done. They won 1 conference game last season, returned most of those same players, just a different style. They're playing more up-tempo. They lead the conference in turnovers forced. This is a team to keep your eye on. They had a stretch of 5 games, 5 straight ACC wins. They lost in a very close one against NC State, who we know is ranked. And so it's been really impressive what Amanda Butler has done. I think I'm really excited, most excited to see how they continue throughout conference play.
Let's talk player of the year in the ACC. Now, I think this is probably a 2-person race, right? For all intents and purposes, there are 2 2,000-point scorers in the ACC. Arike Ogunbowale for Notre Dame, Asia Durr for Louisville. So I just want to know, Chelsea, hold this for a second. I just want to know, did I put it on right side up? Am I going to have to wear this? Does this get your vote?
So night-night, this is what has been made for Asia Durr. It's her little tagline for the season, just shooting the lights out night-night, draining shots left and right. That's one of the candidates, no question, for player of the year is Asia Durr from Louisville. The other one, Arike Ogunbowale, who right now is doing it all for the Cardinals, or excuse me, for Notre Dame. She leads the team in scoring. She's a defender. She gets steals. She gets out and runs. She's just a complete player.
You're not going to pick one right now?
I have Arike Ogunbowale on my list right now. Like I said, I just think she's such a complete player, as is Asia Durr. But you see Ogunbowale, like I said, defending. She's one of the top on the teams in steals all over the court, and certainly what she can do offensively is very impressive.
Last season, the ACC led all conferences, set a league record with 8 teams going to the NCAA tournament. Of course, Notre Dame winning it all. What are you thinking at this point for the league this year?
The league is really strong. Number 1 in RPI, again, coming into this week, and I think that's going to be a number we wouldn't be surprised seeing again, is 8 teams right now. Georgia Tech right now, as it stands, being that 8th team to get in. Certainly there's 9 to 10 games left for each team in conference play. Still a lot that could unfold, but I think if Georgia Tech can continue to win games, that they're going to be that 8th team that sneaks in.
Well, I think we have covered it all for you at this point. Let's enjoy the rest of ACC women's basketball down the stretch.
Jen, Chelsea, thank you both. Safe travels to South Bend to call number 5 Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. Coverage begins at noon Sunday. Please check your local listings and join us.
Still to come on ACC All Access, our ACC profile. Tom Wormy sits down with Duke's Special K, Mike Krzyzewski, who has seen a lot in his 39 years in Durham.
Yeah, the game has never been broken, but is always changing. And so it favors, if you're going to stay in the game, people who adapt along the way.
Up next, it's time to rock the rims. Our list of the best dunks in the ACC is next. You think Michael Jordan made the cut? Zion Williamson too? Find out next. You are watching ACC All Access. ACC All Access is brought to you by the corporate champions of the ACC, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
A contact let go this time. It's an air ball from Brissett. He thought he was fouled, probably was. Tack coming out. It's a lob from Robinson, and it's a dunk with 2 hands from Ahmed Hill.
Backs away with 18 to shoot.
Jordan's open. Lob, dunk by Worrell. A beauty of a pass from Cunningham.
Barrett on the left. Up top, it's Jones, 15 to shoot. They survey the defense. Reddish the lob. Zion the finish.
Hey, what are you going to do?
Reddish the lob. Zion! Oh, elevator going up to throw it down.
It seems every couple of weeks, Zion Williamson has me asking myself, is that one of the best ACC dunks ever? Fortunately, a few years ago, I worked on a project for the ACC, finding the best dunks from every school. So yes, I'm a bit of a connoisseur. So now here is my personal list of the top 5 dunks in ACC history.
Had the shot blocked by Sam Perkins. I guess that is a pretty fitting end to the ballgame. Jordan, look at that! Holy cow! Unbelievable.
Michael Jordan unveils his Rock the Cradle. He shocked everyone. It became one of the signature moves of his career, and this is where it all started. I feel like we could have the same feeling about number 4.
Made them both. Duke equals their largest lead at 22. Now a steal. Zion! Spinning his way to hammer it home!
A 360 for Zion Williamson.
There it is, Zion with the steal and 360. Now don't get me wrong, the coast-to-coast versus UVA, very impressive. But this one against Clemson was a showstopper. Our first poster, poor Engin Atzer. Not only did Ish Muhammad jump over him, Ish did it with such a disdain, or even worse, just a nonchalance, completely dismissing Atzer.
Good gracious alive!
Dante Jones, 2003 versus Virginia. This dunk has 3 crucial components. 1, Jones posterizes Nick van der Laan. 2, Jones celebrates with push-ups. That's worth some style points. Love it. And 3, the call. Good gracious alive. That's a bonus that elevates this dunk to unforgettable status. Now, 2 complicating factors before we get to number 1. 1, of course, we're not going to show any dunks from the NCAA tournament. Not allowed. 2, we now have 15 schools in the ACC. Those recent additions to the conference had a great basketball tradition before they joined the ACC. So let's give credit where credit is due. There is a dunk that absolutely cannot be ignored.
Lane's on the other wing. He finds
Send it in, Jerome!
Perhaps the most famous dunk in college basketball history. Pitts Jerome Lane shatters the backboard back in the Panthers' Big East days. Now, for number 1. This dunk may not be as famous as Send It In Jerome, but for me, it is better. We hop on board the Wayback Machine to the 1996 ACC tournament. It is time for some Vinsanity.
And it looks like Carolina really trying to exploit.
Oh my! The lob off the baseline out of bounds, off 2 feet, 1 hand, in traffic. Folks, this is ballet. Here's the crazy thing, Vince Carter doing this in 1996, he's still playing in the NBA. And for me, that is my favorite dunk in ACC history. Now we know there are so many others. Stackhouse at Cameron, Mustafa Farrakhan against NC State, Gene Banks did it over Ralph Sampson, and of course Lorenzo Charles in the NCAA tournament. If you don't like my list, feel free to make your own list. You can always tweet me. I adore being told I'm wrong.
Much more to come on ACC All Access. The ACC Profile is next. Tom Wormy has an exclusive interview with Duke head coach Mike Krzyzewski, so stick around. You are watching ACC All Access. ACC All Access is brought to you by the corporate champions of the ACC, New York Life, and Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits.
Congrats to Daniel Jones. The Duke QB was the MVP of the Senior Bowl. He ran for a touchdown and threw for another. Jones finished 8 of 11 for 115 yards. You know, Jones may be putting himself in position to be a first-round pick. By the way, NC State's Ryan Finley was also very good in the game. When a Shakespeare play gets turned into a movie, Shakespeare doesn't get nominated for an Oscar. It's kind of like, why bother? His legacy is already set in stone. I'm aware Mike Krzyzewski did not coach 400 years ago, but I feel like we've reached that point with ACC Coach of the Year. Let's be honest, he probably deserves it on a regular basis, but he hasn't gotten the award since 2000 because, why bother? His legacy is already set in stone. In this week's ACC Profile, Tom Wormy sits down with Kay to discuss why this season could be special.
Well, Coach, have you, in your career, had such an influx of potential with a group of guys to join your team?
The last couple of years, we've had a lot of potential because the last two, we've placed 8 guys in the NBA, so that means we're getting pretty good talent. But this group, I think, is the 4 kids who committed early. They're positionless players, and Joey Baker, who came in later, is more of a wing shooter. But the 4 other kids they can play anywhere on the court, with Trey Jones being primarily the so-called point guard.
It would seem on the surface when you say positionless that would make your job easier, but does it make it harder? How does that change things? You need to put 2 balls in play to have these guys get their chances out there?
No, positionless makes it easier, and you can be more creative because they need to have the ability to be more creative. So you may put in motion some things, but then they make it more creative because of their skill sets. And if they can combine their skill sets with one another, all of a sudden it looks like you've done a good job of coaching.
I would imagine for you, it's like, yes, you've done this for a number of years and had incredible success, but does it rekindle the excitement when you see the guys coming in, along with the guys who have been there and put in the work, and being able to mesh another group for another season and chase an ACC tournament championship and a national championship and all the goals that you set forth?
Yeah, well, the main thing we chase is a national championship. That's how our program will be defined, and would love to win every game and regular season, ACC championship, but we want to be in a position to win a national championship. And coming in each year, this is my 44th year as a head coach. I love it because I get to be in their moment.
You've been able to see the last, 50 some odd years of basketball, and observing it probably since you were in grade school. I mean, the way the game has come along, and certainly with your situation where you have the players that maybe play for a year and then move on, but that being the more modern framework. But the last 40 years, my goodness, I mean, how do you put that into a
Well, the game is beautiful, and if that old expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The game has never been broken, but is always changing. And so it favors, if you're going to stay in the game, people who adapt along the way.
Here's the last one. Now have fun with this, if you can. What would your spirit animal be?
My spirit animal?
Yeah, spirit animal.
I don't even know what the hell a spirit animal
But,
is.
you know, like, here's an example. I said it to Jim Christian, and he said, oh, that's easy. It would be an eagle. And then he went on to expound on the Boston College spirit. Anything along those lines? Not really.
If I have a spirit, it won't be an animal.
What would it be?
I don't know. It'd be some divine. It'd be Michael the Archangel.
Oh, wow. Going big. Biblical eyes,
Hey,
yeah.
I'm Michael, and I hope he's got my back.
Tom, thank you. Here are the numbers that confirm K's legacy. You know, winning a national title this year would leave him a nice round 100 NCAA tourney wins. That last number is fun. His players have earned more than $1 billion with a B in the NBA. A doubleheader Saturday, Georgia Tech and number 25 Florida State from Tallahassee at noon. Notre Dame at BC at 2 p.m. Eastern. Check those local listings. I will see you in Chestnut Hill Saturday for Notre Dame BC, then back here next week for ACC All Access. And of course, shoot me a tweet at Jeff Fischel. Love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching ACC All Access.